listen to, who watch all of the things you do. I hate to break it to you, not everyone wants the best for you. Who try to take the dream inside you, they see they're flat out jealous and envy all the things you will be. Yeah, just hold your head up, man, and keep on moving on. If I would've never struggled, then I wouldn't have this song. But don't get me wrong, no need to stack up your strife. You gotta watch the ones who you let speak straight into your life. Cause the artists, they will sing you all their fancy little songs with the funny little beats and all the catchy sing-alongs. But the messages they give are not the kind you should be fed. It's a recipe of lies they try to get stuck in your head. Man, I see some rappers sold their souls, I won't be selling mine. No need to find a source when you're eating from the vine. You thought that I was done, but now I'm leaving you behind. Wouldn't say I deserve it, but I'm here to get what's mine. Live free, dream big, and see that the world is yours. The world is yours. With all you have to give. Cause the world is yours. The world is yours. Live good, live right, no fear tonight. The world is yours. The world is yours. And just stay true, fight on, stay you. The world is yours. The world is yours. Look up, live free, dream big, and see that the world is yours. The world is yours. Give all you have to give. Cause the world is yours. The world is yours.
Happy Wednesday to each one of you here. I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and as Mackenzie says, happy Waffle Wednesday. And it's also Read Aloud Wednesday, and I've got a good book for you today that Miss Wright, our former librarian, she watches, and she recommended this book a couple weeks ago for us to read, so I can't wait to read it. I've not read this book before, so I'm looking forward to reading this book to you. I hope your day has been great so far. It's another we've been doing great here with weather lately. I know it was rainy yesterday, but it's beautiful outside today. I went for a run this morning, and it was just gorgeous out there. A little bit more humidity in the air. I noticed that during my run, but still a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday. Well, let's look at our house point totals. We had some more points. We had some more points come in yesterday from some other teachers. And right now, Eurisi is still in first with 8,412 points. Dinan is still in second with 7,247 points. Funda is in third with 7,107 points. And Amistad is in fourth with 6,318 points. I know we just have a few weeks of school left, but there's plenty of time to earn lots of points. I know I was on a Zoom this morning with Miss Holloman's class, and she said Henry had earned 75 house points, and Henry's in Funda, so that's awesome. And she hasn't turned in those to me, so there are still lots and lots of points out there for people, so keep working hard in your regular classes, earning points. I know teachers are giving out points for lots of different things. So keep working hard. Also, Miss Shields is doing a special science Kahoot fun Zoom on Friday at 3 o'clock. So your teachers should send you all the information on that. I'll try to have a screen up tomorrow to give you all that information, but your teacher should send you that. If they haven't, ask about it in either your Zoom meetings with your teacher, or send your teacher an email, because Miss Shields is doing a special science Zoom, and it's going to be a science Kahoot. So I can't wait to get on there and beat all the kids, because I love science and I like to beat kids in Kahoot. So Ja'Cory's saying the points haven't changed. That's not true. The points have changed. I just changed them about 10 minutes ago. So you'll have to go back and look at yesterday's broadcast, because the point totals from yesterday, well, Dinan's points may not have changed because Dinan didn't get any more points from yesterday, but Amistad, Eurisi, and Funda did. So you'll have to go back and check that out. Let's get to our book. Our book today is A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. And thank you, Miss Wright, again for recommending this. I'm looking forward to reading it. She said it was a really good read aloud. So here we go. A Bad Case of Stripes by David Shannon. Those look like lima beans. To my wife Heidi and to my friend and teacher Philip Hayes, aka Uncle Legend. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans and she wanted to fit in. Camilla was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits, but none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens!" she cried. "You're completely covered with stripes." This was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Mrs. Cream felt Camilla's forehead. "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "I feel fine," Camilla answered. "But just look at me." "You get back in bed this instant," her mother ordered. "You're not going to school today." Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what the other kids would say, and she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" "No," Camilla told him. "I feel fine." "Well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, "I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment. This should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me." And off he went. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon and Night of the Living Lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything was normal, but when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." Sure enough, Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard!" and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you could change channels on a TV. That night, Mr. Harms, the school principal, called. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream," he said. "I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting calls from the other parents. They're afraid those stripes may be contagious." Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?" he asked. "No, thank you," sighed Camilla. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans, but she'd been laughed at enough for one day. Yeah, yes, I see," Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I'd better bring in the specialist. We'll be right over." About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Grop, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialist went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. "Well, it's not the mumps," concluded Dr. Grop. "Or the measles," said Dr. Sponge. "Definitely not chicken pox," put in Dr. Cricket. "Or sunburn," said Dr. Young. "Try these," said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. "Take one of each before bed," said Dr. Grop. Then they filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different, but when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called, but this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the experts. Dr. Gord and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camilla was poked and prodded, looked at and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers, then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gord finally spoke. "It might be a virus," he announced with authority. Suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. "Or possibly some form of bacteria," said Mr. Mellon. Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails. "Or it could be a fungus," added Dr. Gord. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camilla, then at each other. "We need to go over these numbers again back at the lab," Dr. Gord explained. "We'll call you when we know something." But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. By now, the TV news had found out about Camilla. Reporters from every channel were outside her house telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. The Creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance, until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camilla. "Close your eyes," she said. "Breathe deeply and become one with your room." "I wish you hadn't said that," Camilla groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. "What are we going to do?" cried Mrs. Cream. "It just keeps getting worse and worse." She began to sob. At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. "Excuse me," she said brightly, "but I think I can help." She went into Camilla's room and looked around. "My goodness," she said with a shake of her head. "What we have here is a bad case of stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen." She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. "Here," she said, "these might do the trick." "Are those magic beans?" asked Mrs. Cream. "Oh my, no," replied the kind old woman. There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you like some, wouldn't you? She asked Camellia. Camilla wanted a big helping plateful of lima beans more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. Yuck, she said. No one likes lima beans, especially me. Oh dear, the old woman said sadly. I guess I was wrong about you. She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camellia watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good. And being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. Wait, she cried. The truth is, I really love lima beans. I thought so, the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. Said Camilla. Suddenly, the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. I'm cured, she shouted. Yes, said the old woman, I know the real you was in there somewhere. She patted Camellia on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterward, Camellia wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had even a touch of stripes again. Okay. All right. So, this author, David Shannon, he's the one that wrote the David books too. So if you've listened to those, you've read those, you probably know the author does a good job at making you smile when you read his books. So the point of that story, is it's okay to be different, and you don't need to freak out and get a bad case of stripes just because you're a little different. We're all different. If we were all the same, this world would be a very, very boring place. So it's okay to be different, and it's okay to like stuff that other people don't like and do things that other people don't think are right. That's okay. I mean, as long as it's not something bad, it's okay. So don't ever let anyone make you feel like you've got stripes. Okay, if you want to eat lima beans, or if you want to do something that's not cool compared to other people, that's okay. And so hopefully none of you ever get the bad case of the stripes like Camilla did. So I want to know in the chat, and this is your homework assignment, and you'll get points for this, what favorite picture book would you like me to read? You can either send this to me via email at carvercardinals@gmail.com, or you can just type it in the chat, okay? And let me know what you would like me to read next week. I don't have a book planned yet, so I'll try to pick one from the books that you suggest. So what book would you like me to read next week? I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget about Miss Shields' special Zoom on Friday at 3 o'clock. I'll remind you about it tomorrow. And tomorrow is Trivia Thursday. So you want to definitely be back here. Invite all your friends. Snapchat them. TikTok them. Insta them. Tweet them. Do what you need to do to get them in here tomorrow, because we'll have fun playing trivia tomorrow. I'll have some fun questions for you. Well, I'm going to put the slide back up on the screen for your homework. I hope I'll write down any books that you'd like me to read. You'll get 10 points each for sending those in. And I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Look up, live free, dream big, and see the world is yours. The world is yours. Give all you have to give. The world is yours. The world is yours. I tried to break free, you tried to keep me bound. I tried to live right, you tried to keep me down. But now I'm going up, I'm moving high then. Anywhere that I've been before, I'm flying, man. It's kinda crazy, like my feet are lifting off the ground. I'm touching heaven with my hands, now to get the sound. But though I'm flying, my head is still level, and I won't be bound down to hear the whispers of the devil. Now the future is here, and it looks real bright, and it can be yours too, if you set your path right. I know life can be hard, but you were put here to win. Just refuse to quit when you're down and get back up again. Man, I used to write my music from my tiny bedroom, and though I dreamt of being free, I felt trapped like in a tomb. And even though the times are dark and I can barely even see through all the tears, I sit and pen, weave out my destiny. But now the days are gone where I would listen to the critics who counted me out before they ran the proper analytics. I'm here to stay, just like a necklace waiting to be pearled, and I'm throwing up the chorus as I'm singing with the world. Wake up, live free, dream big, and see that the world is yours. The world is yours. Give all you have to give. 'Cause the world is yours. The world is yours. You should be careful who you listen to, who watch all of the things you do. I hate to break it to you, not everyone wants the best for you. Who try to take the dream inside you, they see. They're flat out jealous and envy all the things you will be. Yeah, just hold your head up, man, and keep on moving on. If I would've never struggled, then I wouldn't have this song. But don't get me wrong, no need to stack up your strife. You gotta watch the ones who you let speak straight into your life. 'Cause the artists, they will sing you all their fancy little songs with the funny little beats and all the catchy sing-alongs. But the messages they give are not the kind you should be fed. It's a recipe of lies that try to get stuck in your head. Man, I see some rappers sold their souls, I won't be selling mine. No need to find a source when you're eating from the vine. You thought that I was done, but now I'm leaving you behind. Wouldn't say I deserve it, but I'm here to get what's mine.